and that's kind of what we were talking about. Like, so posting or being consistent, or even Tuesday tea time, 3 years from now, it might look totally different. It might even be a different platform. It might, but we've got to start somewhere. And so I want to encourage you. That's the big, broad vision of Bunts versus Home Runs, of just being ready to start, being ready to, because we can't get consistent on content on social media if we don't start somewhere. Can you add a graphic later on? Can you get a better a better template? Can you schedule it better? Can you do all these things better? Yes, right? But we got to start somewhere and be pioneers. And I think just even not thinking just digitally, but thinking about the growth of our people. If we can't show them what it's like to pioneer, then what are they going through, when they're trying to grow in their own faith? They feel nervous, they're scared, they feel uneducated, they feel like ignorant in many areas. They're not sure about how to what their gifts are, or how to be able to use those gifts, or even if they should, because they know that they've sinned and that they struggle with different things. And so all of a sudden you have all of these reasons to not go out and do what we're called to do in the Great Commission. But the faith was not founded on perfect brothers and sisters, right? That had it all together, home run shots, right? The faith was founded on a bunch of misfits like me, and you, who went forth and were still imperfect, but they went forth and did the best they can, and they continue to grow, right? And be able to make steps forward. And so the same way that we want people to make steps forward in their walk with Christ, the same way we got to be able to show them that we're going to step forward in this digital world, and we're already using digital, whether we know it or not, for majority of our church, because majority of your churches don't meet just on Sundays or Wednesdays, right? That if you had a prayer request, you're not waiting till Wednesday, you're not waiting till Sunday, you're probably shooting it out on email or text message or something, which is a digital platform. And so with Connect, we want to be able to, we know it's going to look way, way different. Every month it's going to look different. Every week it may look different, but we got to start somewhere. And so we're going to take these steps going forward, and using digital as an outreach tool, encouraging your church to share the content. They maybe don't feel like that's part of their call to do that. They might think it's yours as a church leader, but it's one of the simplest, easiest things they could do to be able to share content. I remember one of our church members was in the hospital, and she was watching the sermon streamed on Facebook, and the nurse came by and was peeking over her shoulder, like, what is it? Who is that? What is that? What are you guys doing? And she started listening, and she's like, oh my gosh, I think he's talking to me right now. And what if she wasn't watching? What if we don't share? What if, and again, I know you're sharing probably, right? But what if the people in our churches aren't, doing that, because maybe the audio is not perfect, or maybe it's going out of focus periodically. We've got to teach that it's okay to start from somewhere and be a work in progress, and to fight forward. And at SABA, we look forward to be able to help you navigate these steps. We're going to talk next episode about still some more great ideas to go from bunts to home runs. But I just wanted to talk about the psychology of it, to understand that you're going to strike out sometimes. It won't even be a bunt, right? It'll be like you try to lay a bunt and you like knocked your head with the bat or something like that. And it's okay to make mistakes. And I think that we show our leaders what it's like to go make mistakes and to continue fight forward. So before we close out, guys, I know this was kind of a little bit less digital, but I wanted to make sure as we go and share these concepts, which I know people have already started sharing around the globe. And so I thank you guys for listening on the radio or watching us on social media. And I ask you to share it as well. to more people. But as we do share way more digital things, there's going to be the heart of it is being a work in progress and being open to change and open to technology. And if we don't have the heart right, then some of these concepts are not going to even be embraced ever. So in that last, talk about that last idea psychologically, what do you guys have as we kind of close it up? And next week we'll get into some more hardcore kind of ideas.
Yeah, I love that the whole psychology of it, of not being afraid to fail. I think a lot of times we don't start things because we're scared about other people's opinions of what we're doing, and it might not look perfect in the beginning, but I think that just failure is not really failure; it's just learning as you go. So I love the psychology of that. I think it's so important, so needed to for growth. So
Absolutely. I love one of the things you said, Chad. That was, "Don't be afraid to fail." I know they attribute the quote to Thomas Edison when they said, how many tries did it take you to build the light bulb? And I know he's not the only creator of the light bulb. There was other inventors that helped, but there's a quote that's attributed to him that I really like, and he says, "I didn't build the light bulb the first try, but I found 1,000 ways how not to build a light bulb." You know, so
Yeah.
that's what it is. We're gonna fail every day. Just look at our walk in life. I mean, we fall short every day. So don't be surprised if we do try something and it doesn't work, and that's okay. We just keep going. You just improvise, you adapt, you overcome. Take a step back and keep going down the road. But I think that's very, very important because it can get discouraging when you start an online Bible study and nobody shows up,
Yeah.
or your giving is down and people are having a hard time figuring out how to do the online giving. But these are all little issues that we can get over. It's not necessarily a failure. It's more of, okay, we're just going to look and we're going to have to reevaluate our way forward.
Mhm.
Remember, the enemy doesn't like to see us succeed. So
Yeah.
there's going to be failure there. Little things are going to go off. Your stream's going to cut out in the middle of service. Your audio is going to cut out in the middle of service. There's going to be some crazy echo on the pastor's voice. The worship team, one of the guitars is not going to come through. These little things happen, and they're going to happen with digital. These little things happen to even some of the largest, online mega churches. It happens, and it's going to happen more with us than when you're trying to learn this for the first time or you're just not well versed in this. But as we keep doing it, guess what? It gets easier and it gets better.
I love it. I was just thinking when you were talking about that, like a seed that has to eventually break through, right? The
Mm-hmm.
what's surrounding it to be able to grow into a plant that can bear more fruit. But if the seed doesn't go through that breaking point, that stress, that where it splits open, literally, right? Splits
Mm-hmm.
open. If it just stays as a seed form and never does that, it will never be able to reproduce and create more. And so we've got to be ready to break free. We've got to be ready to make it happen. And I think as a church planter, with Ignite and with this Connect digital stuff, that idea to go out there and push it and be a work in progress and to fail and all that stuff is kind of already ingrained in me a little bit. But I think many of us, maybe we've been in a comfort zone for a long time with our organizations, and so we're used to every status quo, but that's not maybe good enough, right, for where the future and what we could do. And again, it might not even be just your desire to go learn how to video program and stuff like that, because mine is not. But it might be to find somebody on your staff or some young person. If you hear Eric talk about how he was already doing these things, I'm sure you weren't paid a whole lot, right, when you were doing those things.
some candy. That's about it. I'm just kidding.
Candy. So get some candy or whatever you got, right? Some tacos or something like that, and go say, hey, you're going to start to help learn this stuff. I met a guy who was well, I was trying to figure out some hardware like speakers and stuff like that, and they took one of my friends took me over to this guy, and he said that his first 3 or 4 years he was doing it all as a volunteer. He was showing up early, he was staying late, he was plugging in cords, he was setting up, he was doing all that stuff. And then as there became a more growth in the church, that he ended up getting some money there. And then now it's 20 years later, and he has a whole business around setting up churches. So what if we cast that vision to some of the people in our organizations and said, you know what, we don't know where God's going to lead this, but we do know what we need right now from you, and we need your help in this digital area. And if we do well with it, we know if we do well with it, right, that it's going to be able to produce rewards for them in heaven, if not here, right? Like it's going to, and who, it could be a purpose for somebody. It could be their gifting, not, you know, and so we got to open those doors. If we could, guys, I think Albert was touching on something that we haven't touched on so far, which is critical, which is the giving thing. So if we could do next episode talking a little bit about giving software, pastors, we need that, right? We need some help with giving, because if we have some giving coming in, I think all of us know that we could hire some people to help do some of these things, or the right equipment to go do these things, you know, run Facebook ads or whatever else with resources coming in. So if we could talk about that on the next episode of the Digital Dive, I would be so grateful. You guys game?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. But thanks again for watching, my friend. Share it around the best that you can, and God bless you.